And no one, I mean no one, is paying to see Angel Reese attempt to play basketball. Hell, not even Mama Reese is paying to watch this live.
Listen, nobody is paying to see a league without its biggest draw. The numbers speak a brutal truth the WNBA simply cannot ignore. When one player, the unprecedented force behind their recent boom, was suddenly sidelined by injury, the impact was instant, raw, and economically devastating. In that chilling moment, the stark, uncomfortable reality became undeniable. In women's professional basketball, one individual's star power is now almost solely driving the entire engine of engagement and revenue. Without her, the league's appeal diminishes, exposing an urgent, desperate need to build something more sustainable, something that can finally stand on its own feet. This isn't just a player being out, it's a league facing its deepest, most dangerous secret, a truth revealed by a single catastrophic blow.
You can't tell me that the Caitlin Clark effect isn't real. You knew when news broke yesterday that Caitlin Clark was going to be out for a few weeks, that ticket prices were going to go down, but I never expected them to go down 71% for the rivalry game.
The moment the news broke, it sent tremors through the entire landscape of professional women's sports. May 25th, 2025. Caitlin Clark, the undeniable titan of the WNBA, sustained a left quad strain. Instantly, the league felt the jolt. This wasn't a slow erosion of interest. It was an economic aftershock, immediate and devastating. The numbers tell a story that should chill any executive. Within mere hours of her injury announcement, ticket prices for Indiana Fever games plummeted by an astonishing 42%.
Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, an average ticket price of $137 all the way down to $80. People are selling their tickets, definitely can't get face value, so what do? They just continue to lower and lower and lower and lower.
We're talking about an average price of $137 crashing down to a measly $80 overnight. This wasn't a market adjustment, it was a visceral, undeniable acknowledgement from fans and the marketplace. Without Clark, the product simply did not hold the same value. The stark, rapid decline underscored how profoundly central her presence is to the league's financial health, and how dangerously fragile the WNBA's current model truly is when its biggest star is sidelined. This sudden void didn't just affect the Fever, it cast a long, foreboding shadow across the entire league.
Guy relocated the game to the United Center, the home of the Chicago Bulls and the largest arena in the NBA, expecting a marquee matchup between Clark and Sky Forward Angel Reese. Now here's where it gets sweet, all right? It gets real interesting right here. However, uncertainty looms as ticket prices for the game have plummeted dramatically following Clark's injury announcement. Oh my goodness. Since it became likely she will miss the June 7th game, ticket prices have dropped a staggering 71%. Oh my goodness. Following from an entry price of $86 to just $25 according to Tick.
The ripple effect of Clark's absence quickly became a full-blown financial disaster for others. Consider the Chicago Sky, a team that had strategically moved their highly anticipated June 7th game against the Fever. They shifted it from their usual 10,387-seat Wintrust Arena to the colossal 21,000-seat United Center, home of the NBA's Bulls, all to capitalize on the guaranteed spectacle Clark brought. This was a bold, expensive bet on her drawing power, but the instant her injury was announced, that gamble turned into a swift, humiliating loss. Ticket prices for what was meant to be a marquee matchup, featuring players like Angel Reese, crashed by a staggering 71%. The minimum entry fee fell from a robust $86 to a paltry $25.
I told you earlier, these WNBA franchises that moved games like the Chicago Sky to the United Arena, you're screwed. You're done. You're cooked. Nobody is going to show up to this thing. Chicago Sky can't sell out their own 9,000-something seat arena like it is. They couldn't when they were kind of decent. They're a dumpster fire now. And now that Caitlin Clark is injured, the ticket prices for the Fever and Sky game just plummeted to Hades.
For a team that had invested heavily in securing a larger venue, anticipating a massive sellout and a flood of revenue, the financial impact was swift and brutal. This wasn't just about lost ticket sales. It meant crushing losses in concessions, merchandise, and broader economic activity that would have followed a packed arena. It was a stark, undeniable lesson in the risks of overdependence and the brutal reality of a league built on a single star.
You know that wherever she goes, she's selling out arenas. The ticket prices skyrocket. Like, even trying to get tickets to Carver Hawkeye Arena when they played the Brazilian national team at her old school was just insane prices. If she's going on the road, wherever she's going, ticket sales jumped by 140%. Average is $312.
Beyond ticket prices, Clark's injury laid bare an even more profound truth: the vast chasm in the WNBA's viewership. Data from Fox Sports reveals an uncomfortable secret. Games featuring Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever averaged an astounding 1.168 million viewers. Now, compare that to other WNBA games, which consistently drew only 394,000 viewers. This isn't just a significant gap, it's a near tripling of the audience, a seismic shift in the league's television appeal. Clark's presence doesn't just boost numbers, it fundamentally transforms the league's visibility and marketability, proving how absolutely critical she is to its financial and cultural success.
The WNBA will be reliant on their other stars to maintain the interest of the mainstream. With Angel Reese being the only player with mainstream name recognition, most of the pressure, it is going to be on her to perform. And we have plenty of evidence that proves Angel Reese is not qualified to.
Her star power undeniably elevates the entire league, but it also relentlessly exposes a fragile economic balance precariously reliant on a select, very small group of players. When 21 out of 24 WNBA broadcasts that drew at least 1 million viewers in 2024 featured Clark, it becomes chillingly clear nearly 90% of the league's most watched games depended almost entirely on her. This isn't just a player, she's a viewership engine.
Caitlin Clark could be projected to be $1 billion revenue maker for the WNBA this year. Now, obviously, the WNBA won't see that money, won't see most of that money, and it's not just in the WNBA, but it's all of her sponsorships, it's all of her appearances, it's all that stuff. But according to the projections, we're looking at $875 million could easily eclipse $1 billion on her economic impact. Caitlin Clark entering the league last year was responsible for 26.5% of all of their economic activity. So revenue from merchandise, which again, with the CBA as it is currently, she doesn't see a dime of any of that. TV, and then ticket sales, obviously, which again, they don't get anything.
The sheer magnitude of Caitlin Clark's economic influence goes far beyond ticket sales and TV ratings. It permeates every facet of the WNBA's commercial ecosystem. A comprehensive economic analysis revealed a jaw-dropping truth. During her rookie season, Clark was responsible for an impressive 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity. Let that sink in for a moment. Projections for 2025 estimate Clark could generate around $875 million in economic impact for the league, with the very real potential to eclipse $1 billion.
People might be saying, oh, well, the teams aren't really going to suffer. They already sold the tickets. No. You don't understand. If the Chicago Sky moved into the United Center, and let's say resale-wise, they sold all 19,000, well, when only 9,000 to 10,000 show up, they're losing merchandise sales, they're losing food sales, they're losing beverage sales. They're losing big. They took a big gamble to get into that arena, and they're losing big because it's not going to be full, and those people aren't going to be buying things.
These aren't just speculative figures, they are grounded in tangible, measurable increases across the board. We're talking about attendance surges, merchandise sales skyrocketing over 500% league-wide according to Fanatics reports, and even Dick's Sporting Goods experiencing a remarkable 233% jump in WNBA sales from 2023 to 2024, overwhelmingly attributed to her popularity. This isn't a temporary bump or a novelty effect. These numbers represent fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and spending patterns. The immediate market reaction to her injury, with ticket prices dropping by over 40% within hours, served as a stark, real-time validation of this colossal, almost unbelievable value. The WNBA has inadvertently built a significant portion of its current economic foundation on the appeal of a single player, creating both unprecedented opportunity and a staggering level of considerable risk.
The ticket prices. This does not shock me at all. What did I say earlier? The WNBA was about to F around and find out, and these rival teams were going to be in a lot of trouble. Well, they're finding out. Kathy Engelbert, WNBA, you better start putting some respect on Fever fans' names, Caitlin Clark's name. Otherwise, this league, we got to remember, they lost $40 million still last year. All right? They're getting a new media rights deal. That thing won't be worth shit if Caitlin Clark was to either get really injured and couldn't play, or decided to just say, I'm not going to play here anymore, I'm going overseas.
The current situation isn't just a temporary setback, it's a stark, undeniable warning about the terrifying fragility of the WNBA's newfound success. Clark's injury has mercilessly exposed the league's dangerous dependence on one player in ways that should send shivers down the spines of executives, team owners, and players alike. The immediate plunge in interest, the plummeting ticket prices, and the anticipated drop in viewership make one thing painfully clear. The WNBA's recent growth, while undeniably real and substantial, remains dangerously concentrated rather than broadly distributed. This concentration of star power isn't necessarily problematic in itself. Many successful sports leagues have featured transcendent players who drive disproportionate interest.
The jerseys, the number 22, the various styles, whether it's a t-shirt with 22, whether it's an Iowa jersey, whether it's a Fever jersey, a throwback, I mean, whatever. The amount of people in yellow 22 apparel is stunning. It is more than Peyton Manning ever had leading the Colts to a Super Bowl. It's more than Reggie, more than anybody I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it. But now she's not going to play. So I'm curious, are we going to have sellout crowds? Are the Pacers going to draw the attention nationally when they play the Sky or the Liberty or the Sun or whoever?
However, the WNBA's current position is particularly precarious. For decades, the league has reportedly struggled, losing millions, even relying on substantial financial contributions from the NBA to stay afloat, what many cynically refer to as charity checks. This long history of financial struggle, coupled with what some describe as an inflated ego within the league, has meant that despite the clear need for innovation, the WNBA remains stagnant, unable to truly connect with a broader audience. Now, with the emergence of a generational talent like Clark, who could literally reshape their economic future, the league finds itself walking a perilous tightrope. Her early career injury raises a critical question. How can a league survive if its entire future rests so heavily on the health and continued presence of a single, albeit sensational individual?
Reese and the WNBA have been using race to bring awareness to an incredibly bad product. Once you remove Caitlin Clark from the equation, there's no reason for people to watch this league, which is why people haven't been watching Angel Reese throughout her career.
As the league grapples with Clark's absence, an uncomfortable spotlight swings onto its other prominent figures. No team exemplifies this harsh reality quite like the Chicago Sky. Starting their 2025 season at a dismal 0-4, the Sky find themselves struggling to find their footing on the court, winless, while their supposed rival, Clark, continues to dominate headlines even from the injury list. Angel Reese, long positioned as Clark's primary competitor since their collegiate days, now faces the immense, almost impossible task of remaining relevant for a team that has yet to establish its identity this season. The Sky's poor start marks a significant drop from expectations, and their inability to secure wins has led to a noticeable waning of interest from fans and media alike. This decline is vividly reflected in ticket prices. While games at the United Center against Indiana, where Clark's presence was anticipated, commanded premium prices, many of the Sky's regular matches at their home arena are now available for as little as $17. This brutal pricing shift mirrors the market's honest assessment of the team's current entertainment value value and drawing power without its marquee rival. The disparity underscores how crucial Clark remains to the league's overall popularity and the prospects of teams like the Sky. The WNBA will be reliant on its other stars, but data consistently proves that without Clark, the mainstream interest dwindles dramatically.
Without the NBA giving their yearly donation, this league would have folded years ago. And that's the part that bothers me about the organization, the owners, the players. This inflated ego, thinking, oh, we built this. You didn't build nothing. You're just getting by the NBA charity check. And with this mentality, they have these inflated egos and they're stuck in their ways. They think their way is the right way. This is going to be successful, and it failed for decades. Finally, a player that's worth paying the money for. Caitlin Clark comes along. What do, WNBA? You beat her up. You treat her like crap. You treat her like she's dog.
As Clark works relentlessly toward her potential return, the WNBA finds itself at a profound crossroads, facing critical questions about its future trajectory. The league's growth strategy must now urgently evaluate whether it is truly sustainable to depend so heavily on the prominence of individual stars, or if concerted efforts must now shift toward cultivating a more diverse and widespread appeal across multiple players and teams. This situation also prompts vital reflection on competitive balance and talent distribution. The Indiana Fever's ability to draft Clark and build their franchise around her has granted them an undeniable advantage that extends far beyond mere basketball performance, profoundly influencing league-wide attention and marketability. Other teams now face an immense challenge. They need to explore how to develop their own standout players and craft captivating narratives that can genuinely engage fans amidst an incredibly competitive entertainment landscape. For teams like the Chicago Sky and players such as Angel Reese, the path forward is dauntingly clear. They must find creative, compelling ways to generate interest and excitement independently of Clark's influence. This demands a relentless focus on team success, fostering compelling chemistry and creating unique, resonant stories that genuinely connect with fans, rather than relying solely on rivalry-driven hype that hinges entirely on Clark's presence. Building a more balanced and resilient league will require unprecedented strategic investments in player development, innovative marketing, and authentic storytelling that can sustain engagement regardless of individual star availability. But beneath the surface of soaring ratings and plummeting ticket prices, a darker, more unsettling dynamic appears to be at play within the league itself. Despite the undeniable financial windfall Clark brings, whispers of internal friction and even a perceived hostility towards her have surfaced. Some observers point to what they see as an aggressive, almost targeted physical approach by opponents on the court, suggesting a deliberate attempt to wear her down or intimidate her. While tough play is part of basketball, the narrative of Clark being uniquely singled out or even treated like an outsider by some gains traction when considering the stark contrast between the unprecedented attention she brings and the alleged lack of full, unequivocal embraces from parts of the league. This isn't just about rivalries, it points to a deeper tension, where the very player generating unimaginable growth might be facing an uphill battle for respect or acceptance from within the ecosystem she is single-handedly elevating. This internal struggle isn't just about personalities, it could have far-reaching implications for player health and long-term engagement. If Clark's impact is so crucial, what does her fragility mean for the WNBA's most critical upcoming financial lifeline? The league is on the cusp of negotiating a massive new media rights deal, a deal that was widely expected to fetch unprecedented sums, largely on the back of Clark's monumental appeal. Projections for this deal were astronomical, fueled by her ability to draw millions of new eyes to the sport. But now, with the chilling reality of her injury and the exposed vulnerability of the league's over-reliance, those projections could be in jeopardy. How much less will networks be willing to pay if the league's singular draw proves to be prone to absences? This comes against a backdrop of historical financial struggles, where the WNBA has reportedly lost millions each year, staying afloat only through consistent infusions of capital from the NBA, often dubbed the charity check. This model is inherently unsustainable. If the new media rights deal doesn't deliver the expected bonanza, and if Clark's career trajectory is hampered by injuries, or if she were to ever consider playing overseas, the entire financial foundation of the WNBA could be plunged into crisis. This isn't just a challenge for the league, it's a profound test of its very survival, forcing a reckoning with its past and an uncertain future. The harsh reality exposed by Caitlin Clark's injury is this: the WNBA's recent undeniable growth, though significant and genuinely transformative, remains startlingly fragile and profoundly reliant on a single transcendent star. The league has, against all odds, successfully drawn in new fans, significantly boosted revenue, and dramatically raised its profile. Yet these monumental achievements are overwhelmingly anchored to Clark's unique presence and her unmatched performance. This doesn't diminish the incredible talent or entertainment value of other players, nor does it undermine the league as a whole. Instead, it underscores the singular, almost gravitational role Clark plays in shaping the sport's current landscape and highlights the immense responsibility she and the league share to safeguard and leverage this invaluable asset. Ensuring genuine, long-term sustainability will require a radical shift, diversifying its stars, investing deeply in broader player development, and building a far more robust, widespread foundation for continued growth that extends far beyond the influence of one extraordinary individual. The coming weeks and months will be a vital test, a chilling barometer of the WNBA's true strength. If viewership and attendance can remain steady during Clark's absence, it will suggest a successful expansion of its fan base beyond her star power. However, if the numbers drop significantly, it will be a brutal, undeniable confirmation of just how much the league's very existence still hinges on its brightest, most vulnerable talent. Can the WNBA pivot from being the Caitlin Clark show to a thriving ecosystem of diversified stars? Or will its recent boom ultimately prove to be a temporary single-player phenomenon? The answer will define its future.